Imagine being trans and trying to go get your medication. I literally walk up there, the lady on the phone is like, oh, can I have your last name? And so I give it to her. She's like, oh, okay, I'll meet you out there and I'll give you your prescription, right? So I'm waiting and she comes out and then she says, oh, is this for? And then she says my dead name. And I'm like, my name is Rylan. And she just looks at me. And then she puts the medication on the table and shuts the door and locks it behind her.
Are you off your f***ing meds or something? Yes.
So that young person was on the verge of a complete breakdown because what sounded like a pharmacist dead named them. It is amazing that we are able to watch what this ideology is doing to these young people in real time, right in front of our eyes. Now, this person has a similar, albeit a little more dramatic response to being misgendered. Roll it.
I don't understand what is so hard about correcting other people when they misgender others. Like, it takes you like 2 seconds, but you know what it takes for me to have to constantly do that? A lot of fucking unnecessary emotional labor that I already have to take on a daily basis just to fucking exist and be who I am. But you don't have the energy to speak up and say something on my behalf? And I just have to keep white-knuckling this?
I suggest you stop whining like a little
So there are so many people out there every day that are suffering with real-world problems. And we've got these two characters melting down because of what I call the bugaboos of the ideology. There's 3 bugaboos. We saw 2 of them there, dead naming and misgendering, and the other one we see all the time on this channel, using the wrong pronouns. So those are the 3 bugaboos of this ideology that is doing that to young people. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So we got a crazy clown world update today, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words here. And that's exactly how I feel when I look at this cover of Brides Today magazine. Brides Today magazine. I got nothing.
You're as queer as a $10 bill.
So you guys that have been here for a while watching these videos know that very rarely am I at a complete loss for words. In fact, I know, sometimes I talk far more than I should and I need to learn to reel it in a little bit. I assure you today is not one of those days. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if all this brain age is finally taking its toll or what, but I don't know. Roll it.
I just took my kids to the dentist and I'm sitting there filling out all the paperwork, which for all my kids, it's a lot. And on the relationship to patient, I'm putting parent for each and every one. And after I'm done, I give a huge stack like this thick, I'm not even kidding because I have a lot of kids, papers to the assistant, and they're looking through it and they say, well, can you just write mom on this line? And I say, oh, I'm non-binary. They look at me like, and then say, well, can you just write mom on the paper? And I said, I'm non-binary. I don't use mom. I'm a parent. That's what I call myself. She literally rolled her eyes at me and looked the other way and just walked off. What is this world that we live in? Why is this so complicated? I hate it here.
Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies. Yes, sir.
So Mr. Rogers wasn't one to mince words. He was calling balls and strikes way back in the day, so bravo, sir. And I feel like that lady was kind of an anomaly. She said she had a whole gaggle of kids. She didn't say how many, but most of the time, it's not these liberal or progressive people that have large families and a whole bunch of kids. Most of the time, that's on the conservative side of the aisle, but, I mean, it happens, obviously. Anyway, I blame this next one on the body positivity movement. Some may call it the fat acceptance movement. Roll the film, please.
Just a reminder that I am very fat and very sexy, and I am 100% glorifying obesity, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Why don't you go back to your pond, hippo?
So in yesterday's video, we had something very similar to this. There was a woman who was, for lack of better words, huge. She was huge, just like this woman. And she was saying the same thing about how sexy she is. And listen, I don't know anything about that, but I also said in yesterday's video, I'm all about self-confidence. Having confidence in yourself is very important. But at some point, you gotta start looking at your health. I mean, maybe you should tighten up, start exercising, change your diet. And again, what do I know? Miss, I hope that body positive movement works wonders for you. Good luck.
That's a huge bitch!
Now, I think that most of us could probably agree that the most pathetic out of this whole group is the typical white liberal woman. They're always pandering, especially pandering to the black community, and it's actually really gross. Here's a good example. Roll it.
I have the privilege of a white person to be able to know where I come from and to be able to prove that. People of color do not have that privilege. That is an example of white privilege. It's not an attack on your character as a person, as a white person. It's a concept of having things given to you, guaranteed to you in your life that you take for granted and you don't even have to think about. I never had to think about this. I've never had to struggle through finding where I come from. I was able to do it in about a week. I never thought about it.
You're racist.
Now that is the type of woman that you would see in a viral video kissing the boots of a bunch of black people at a BLM rally. Jeez. Anyway, so this next tweet from Kevin Bacon. Now, we all know Kevin Bacon, very famous Hollywood actor, and he's with his wife here, Kara Sedgwick, who is a very famous Hollywood actress. And they are under the impression that people on the right, conservatives, Republicans, want to ban drag shows. They just want to outright ban drag shows. Now, we all know that's a complete f***ing lie. It's just not true. No one has ever suggested to just ban drag shows. But these people, I don't know if it's virtue signaling or what, they got t-shirts on that say, drag is an art form and drag is a right. They're partnering up here with the ACLU for some kind of drag defense fund, and they're going to do this little dance. Now, there's a copyrighted song playing in the background. I'll put my own jingle to it that's a little more fitting, but this is... Nobody wants to ban drag shows. These people are f***ing idiots. Roll the film, please.
Where do you get these f***ing idiots, huh? Where do you get them?
Listen, these people could just be honest and say, well, nobody's really talking about banning drag. They just are saying, well, maybe let's not put this stuff in front of kids. That's it. And that's actually a fairly reasonable idea. It makes sense. But they can't do that. They got to put on their t-shirts that say drag is a right and do their little dances and raise money with the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, for the Drag Defense Fund, as we just saw in Kevin Bacon's tweet. So speaking of the ACLU, oh, one big vicious cycle. So here's the ACLU of Texas. Here's a tweet from them. It says, trans kids deserve joy, peace, and the ability to thrive as their full selves. We need every Texan in the fight to protect trans kids and their access to life-saving health care. Roll the film.
Protect trans kids! 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 Protect trans kids!
You're all f***ed in the head. All of you.
So that's what happens when a large group of people get brainwashed with propaganda. They think that they're doing good when they're actually the ones doing the harm. Anyway, real quick, guys, we don't have any sponsors for today's video. If you would like to sponsor the next video and help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below, and I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. Also, guys, don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button, like that comment section up. You guys know I read all the comments. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button down below. Become a member of the greatest community on the YouTubes. That is you guys. This person thinks the idea of men and women is somehow rooted in capitalism and white supremacy. Roll it.
You know, one of the reasons why cis people think they're real or natural or the default is because they've fallen into the trap of the myth of white supremacy. Yup, they're connected. So if you think things like trans women aren't women, or if you call people trans but then refuse to call yourself cis if you're cis, that means that you have been influenced by one of the original influencers. The twin siblings of colonialism and the myth of white supremacy. And those twin influencer siblings get paid by capitalism to influence. They have literally influenced you to believe that there is a version of a man and a woman that is more human than all the other versions. Sound familiar? Yep. White dominant culture, colonialism, capitalism, they've been working real hard on us. Remember, just like with any influencer trend that is toxic, we don't have to believe it and we don't have to follow it. And in fact, we can even point out the ludicrousness and make it completely obsolete.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
Okay? That is just stupid.
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up on this one because I can't take any more, so I'm fairly certain you guys can't either. That is way too much brain aids for one day. We're going to be wrapping it up once again on everybody's least favorite former Vice President, Joe Biden. And what he says here is, I mean, it's quite clear that these people are trying to break up the nuclear family. They want to break up the family structure. That's why they think that teachers should have the rights, not the parents. And Joe Biden says something here that kind of echoes that. And it's something you hear in countries that, let's say, lean more towards communism. Anyway, guys, things are clearly getting crazy out there. So please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time. Love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, "There's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children."
No offense, but it sounds like some f***ing commie gobbledygook.
And you ain't black.